Hey guys, Luna here, and we are back with Pesterquest. Last time, we just changed Viskra's life forever. And now, on to the next route, we're going to be making friends with Equius, which, trigger warning for self-harm and blood, and general, there is adult language, violence, and innuendos, so please be prepared for that. You've been warned, so let's get into it, shall we? To begin the friendship process. It's a clear, cool night, and you're wandering about, trying to decide whose hive you should crash at before the sun comes up. It's nice having so many options for places to stay. You've cultivated a decent community for yourself, and there's an ember of pride in your belly about it. Still, you find yourself feeling a little aimless. The last couple of friends you made were pretty intense. That's not necessarily a bad thing, but you're vibing at a chiller frequency right now. There's still a while until it gets dangerously light out, so you sort of pop around seeing what feels right. It's kind of fun to test out the boundaries of your powers. You've used it to find friends, but you're really not sure how far it goes. You think tree, and you don't know how your magic brain decided which one to choose, but fuck if you aren't sitting on an extremely high branch a second later. Try it again with whatever concept comes to mind. You try it again with garden, cave, mall, and it all works. You don't even remember having been to any of those specific places, but you feel a strange prickly affinity for them each time your feet touch the ground. Those are all pretty generic locational nouns, though. You wonder if it works for things that are more abstract. Quickly, before you can talk yourself out of the naivety of it, you think of home. It still takes a minute for you to open your eyes, even after you feel your guts all back in the right place, because what if you wake up in a room that feels like yours, or worse, and indefinitely more likely, what if you don't? Breathe in and immediately cough up wretchedly. You open your watery eyes, clinging to the hope that maybe you come to land in a dusty comforts where you always just breathe in the layers of dust, and it's fine. It's not fine. You've landed inside one of those spineless, most precarious hunks of metal that's ever been bolted into the side of a cliff. It looks like some ancient outpost, not homey at all. But it is, because this is what you called home. Of course that wouldn't work. It was stupid to try. Defeat is bitter in your mouth. There's a twisty part of you that wants to curl up on a particular piece of floor and take a nap. You can't work out how much of that urge you just wanting to give in, so just in case, you don't surrender to it. Maybe you come back to another time and shift through all the shit on the shelves. But for now, you're not sure how structurally sound this thing is, and you can't take any more disappointments. So you try one more time to pop somewhere you haven't mentioned before. What was that one guy's name that Gamzee mentioned? Oh yeah, Equius. Maybe he's chill. You think his name and zap away, imagining yourself leaving the dingy, despondent swirl of dust in your wake. Your magic celebrated maybe isn't as off as you thought, because you pop in and on Equius as close as possible to get to the dude without landing directly on top of him. The astonishing unchillness of the situation is immediately apparent. He's mid-jump, mid-yell, mid-sweat, and mid-swing of an outlandishly beefy arm down toward you. You freeze frame like an anime protagonist analyzing their choices mid-battle. In your drawn-out split-second of observational window, you realize he's not aiming at you, but in the direction of whatever noisy whirling thing you happen to plop down in front of. Fuck? As soon as he sees you, his eyebrows shoot up above his busted-ass sunglasses, and he strangles itself into panic. His arm shudders as though he's trying, and failing, to alter its glorious face for a trajectory. You really do not want to get your face punched off your head, so you scream and zap just outside of the high arched door on the far end of the room. You hear a deep and meaty thunk, followed by a groan, then a sharp metallic crunch. The whirling stops. Oh my god, is he dead? I hope he's. I know he's not dead. And is the other thing dead? Should you go check on it? You skitter away from the door and then back to it, unsure what to do. Is that? No, it couldn't have been. No? Show yourself this instance. Ah, fuck. He does not sound happy. His words are just a little garbled too, like some teeth just got knocked out by whoever's ass he was just kicking. Weigh the options. Save as I always do. Check it out. You don't know, Equius looks super strong and even more pissed. You really do not want to be the next blind to get disemboweled. If friendship with this guy is really meant to be, maybe you can reconnect with Gamzee as an intermediary. That sounds like a normal and cool time. Panic grips at you as his heavy footsteps approach the door. Forgetting you have a super useful zap power specifically for use in time of sensitive panic situations, you turn and run. You glance over your shoulder as you go and collide spectacularly with a brick wall. Looking up from a bright polished floor where you lay, especially dust and milk and broken glass, you realize it wasn't a wall and you hit. It's a glistening part pseudo-humanoid, part horse, cow, beast person? Another godforsaken Luskus, maybe? You're not really sure, but the fact that his top half looks kind of like a more dapper, he fills you with the most cursed mixture of fear and curiosity you felt thus far. He doesn't seem bothered by you at all, only anxiously trying to get by you. You try and stand up, but you slip on the milk and eat shit, just as Equius bursts through the door. They both tower over where you lay, flopping ineffectively in a burgundy puddle of froth. God, is everyone in this house just made of muscle? You've had enough of this regular strength escape attempt shit. Bruised, humiliated, and covered in dairy, you zap on out of there. And be brave this time. Oh no, man. You know that Gamzee's seal of approval is maybe not but this guy might be an okay dude, and it would definitely be your fault if he was hurt in there. You should at least explain or something. You can zap away if it comes right down to it. You do the polite thing this time and knock. He opens the door fast, like he was just on the other side of it. You both jump. He collects himself and glares at you, arms crossed against the heaving shins. Riffles of blood and sweat run together and pool in the divot above his weird alien clavicle, and a low, menacing sound rumbles through him. Feel it in your teeth. Holy shit, he's terrifying. Explain yourself immediately. I think you might shit your pants on the spot, but he gives you a quick and up and down and rearranges his expression into a sort of forced smile. It doesn't really feel any more welcoming with that blood dripping down his chin, but the fact that he's trying is maybe a good sign. You hold in your fear shit just in case. Or perhaps come in and take a seat. He steps forward and beckons you through the door, then sort of freezes. Unless you would be you the one instructing me, in which case it would behoove you to make that promptly apparent. I cannot work out how exactly to address you when you don't wear a caste symbol and you look like that. Which I am either way very sorry or quite excited. Like, I know his thing is usually like X or something, but quite something about, depending on where the truth lies. Either way, I'm going to perspire about this, so out with it right now. Man, he's really struggling. The anger you felt radiating off him before is still there, but that doesn't seem to be all of what's driving him. It's like there are two completely competing forces inside him. One that wants to yell at you, and the one that wants to get yelled at by you. You might conceptualize these forces as fierce animals, warring in a glorious and unwavering balance. Horses, perhaps? Anyways, you workshop that metaphor later. You tell him that you know that you look weird, but you promise you're cool. You know a friend of his. The mention of Gamzee, the corner of his lips curls up into something complicated. So you change course real fast just in case. And Kakarot. Does he know Kakarot? What a guy. He eyes you warily. Do you think he's or you think he probably does. With his eyes hidden away behind his shades, you can't be sure. But he's being very still. Sweat and blood are still running down his face, and he's not acknowledging it. He laughed nervously. You continue to stand there, waiting for the other to make a move. It'd be super helpful if someone assertive was around here. Luckily, some kind of cow Santa man, his Luskus you assume, breaks the awkward doorway stalemate by silently trotting up and handing Chris a desperately needed towel. He then offers you some frothy glasses of milk. Something deep inside you feels a swell of warm recognition of their ritualistically moment of a friend's parent bringing you snacks, so you down that thick shit in one go. Luskus' mustache flutters in appreciation, and after a nod between him and Equius, he leaves as quietly as he came. I see you on affandiando the sweetest of nectars. This spear to the likelihood of your nobility, which is reassuring. I may be able to overlook the circumstances of our meeting then, if you can provide strong evidence, of course. Tell me, are you also a hoof-beast enthusiast? He beckons you inside the room, and you follow, and as you follow, you tell him you're not really sure what that means, but probably you're a fan of a lot of... Oh. Wow, okay, so that's what that means. Cool. Yeah, you know, whatever, you feel like you've learned that anything can be art if you feel it's right, so art can definitely be the, muscled horseman on the walls of this here living space. He is a furry through and through. Equius rumbles in agreement and gestures toward a chair. It's one of those cool red and black gamer-themed chairs with embroidered speakers. There's a lot of that kind of decorating motif in here, which is a little at odds with the high ceilings and engraved doorways and general blue-blooded odd money architecture. Oh yeah, there's some broken bows and robot parts all over the goddamn fucking place. Not in neat little stacks or connected to other robot parts to create a whole robot, just an absolute wasteland-related robo-corpses, like they were torn limbs from limb that scooted off toward the wall. A few fairer of them are splattered in blood too. Dried, it almost looks black, but the fresh stuff on the fists of the ones in pieces are at your feet is bright indigo. On one hand, it is absolutely a relief to see that it's all metal and not fresh body parts scattering the floor, but also it's still, not fucking fucked up looking. Your smile probably has too many teeth in it to seem normal, but Equius returns it in kind and leans what he probably thinks is casually against the edge of his desk. It creaks under his weight. Jesus, he could just end you in half a second, couldn't he? You claim we have a mutual acquaintance, so demonstrate it. He nods for the screen of his desktop where he has Trollian open. Oh, fuck off. Okay, you guess you could just click on someone and ask them to prove it? He seems to know Kakarot and Gamzine. Between the two, you know who's most likely to be online and ready to pester and be pestered at all times, so you click on his screen name and start typing. Hey, Kakarot, I was just typing. I hope you were having a good day. I just have a quick query to ask you. Wait, what? Oh, also I miss you. What the fuck? What happened to you? Where's your horrifying quirk? How am I supposed to set up for some truly nauseating conversation if I don't have a non-veiled at all blue reference greeting at me at the beginning of every one of your excruciating messages? Are you sick, like in a new way? Alright, Jesus, you're logged in as Equius. You fool-ass just started typing like you had your own account, just for some reason. You blame it on the nerves and get to clarifying. Oh, haha, sorry, to see new friends. After I dropped you off yesterday, I wandered around for a while, and now I'm hanging out with Equius. I'm using his computer. Oh, my push almost fucking gave up on the spot. I don't think you trust me. Can you vouch for me? Hold on, let me just bask in the concept of the two of you hanging out. This is a mental masterpiece, a tableau of awkward fucking splendor. I legitimately do not even know what sort of short-circuit thing must be happening in his brain to try and make sense of you. Please don't tell me a single fucking thing about it later. Oh, cool, okay, I'm done now. Is he watching? Equius leans over your shoulder and tucks his hair behind his ear so he doesn't get in the way of typing. It's a bow and arrow. Any resemblance otherwise is only a pleasant coincidence. And yes, I am watching. Okay, whatever. Okay, listen up, you milk-logged chum squelcher. This little guy right here, the one you're probably dripping all sweat over, that's the one of the realest friends you will hope to ever make. Sure, they will send your life careening horrendously off course, but it will absolutely be worth it for the level of dedication they bring to the table. Don't even bother with the blood-caught little horseshit with this one, since they're the only one of their species. Just roll with it for once in your wretched life. Don't fuck this one up, Zachariah. They're an abomination, and they wouldn't know what a boundary was if it took up residence in their reshoot. But do have those things in common, so in this case, that's a good thing. Equius inhales sharply. You wonder what Kakarot meant by that. About Icarus, you mean. Sure, you're an inexplicable being, neither Earthling nor Etarian, but with a weird, itchy memories about having lived on both planets. But he doesn't seem out of the normal range of fuck-up considering troll standards. In fact, how about this? That is sufficient. Goodbye. He minimizes the windows and steps back, somehow sweatier than he was before. He taps the towel gingerly to his forehead. So, we have now been properly introduced. Okay then, you definitely thought he was going to be more thorough than that. He does seem a little shaken up, so maybe you should just be thankful the conversation got cut short before you could really dig too deep into your lore and get judgmental about it. I do not know the standard method of communications with your species. You will take the lead here, and it would surely become clear how I should proceed. Yes, that sounds extremely feasible. You will now begin the friendship process. I command it. Oh, sure, you got this. How exactly do you got this? Save again. Show off your cool powers. Great, you can do that. Making friendship is like the one skill you actually have. From what you recall, you have a 100% success too. So this budding report is safe in your hands. Excellent. Phew. You're really sure you'd be down for this. It really seems like he might be coming to kill you when you heard him stomping toward the door earlier. Kill you? He cuts himself off though he didn't intend to admit he didn't have it in him to murder you, and clears his throat. I thought you might be an orator? Molluscus. It's ridiculous. Looking back, though, you do share a sort of lobule-plated resemblance. How did you come to entangle yourself in my brawl, only to immediately escape? Are you abnormally fast? I admit that particular method of being shung not occurred to me, but I am intrigued. I, too, like to test the limits of my physical capacity. Oh no, you can just zap places. It's kind of a strength, maybe, if you wanted to find a superpower that way. You show it off a bit, since you know Equius likes demonstrations. You tell him about how all you have to do is think of a place or a person you want to visit and pop! You bop to the top of a pile of the robot parts and back in front of him on top of the floor. It's like that, except anywhere. I see. This is exceptional. He sort of starts quaking gently where he stands. He rubs his neck with his towel, but he's not really even sweating any more than he had been already. It's as though, in his excitement, he forgot to sweat. And just dabbed by force of habit? Is that a thing? Why are you even noticing this shit? Is it possible to bring along a pillion rider? What, like a zap buddy with you? In answer, you extend an elbow for him to grab. So buddy's just vibrating at this point. He reaches his hand out, but stops just before he touches you, like you might shock him. It's okay. It won't hurt, you say. His fingers just twitch just above your elbow. His mouth cruises in distrust. You're not exactly sure what he's worried about, since you're extremely undangerous, but you let him have his moment to work through whatever he's nervous about. He takes a steadying breath. It's a little unsettling to see his face relax, even briefly into a soft, calm line. Flipped palm up, his hand slowly cradles your forearm from below. A nod, a sharp, determined movement, and starts telling you what to do again. You'll take me with you. Your name is Nipata. Do you require any other information, or will that be sufficient? That ought to do it. You haven't heard of her, you don't think. but you feel an immediate surge of excitement just about this little jaunt. It's probably mostly just the friendship they're stalking, but you can't help but feel like it's a connection that is supposed to be made, like it's something that matters. You zap away. The pleasant little cosmic slip-inside feeling you zap around is jolted, like you get yanked off the ride with a fist hook to your guts. You land back exactly where you started. That did not work. Did you mislead me? No, this should work. You're not even high this time. As impressive as the strength of your power is, perhaps you need to apply more attention to the more intricate details involved. She is an olive blood, very short and shamefully unkept. This information will help. You hope so. He is starting to look pretty tense, even with the fawn lit in his voice as he talks about his messy friend. You give it another whirl, and then you feel it. That some weedy glare on the back of your neck telling you don't belong. Fuck. That blocked again. You will try again. Each word is grounded out one at a time between his clenched teeth. Blood trickles through the crackles of his bite and out the corner of his lips. You really don't think this is going to work, but Equius looks like he's a second away from losing his shit, so you reluctantly comply. Wait, fuck. It's not going to work. As you hurtle through space-time toward Equius' floor, you start to wonder if this is just going to be what happens now when you try and make friends. You accept this truth into your heart as your face accepts the impending wood planks. Equius lands on his feet a little ways away from you, his hands balled into his fists, bellowing with impotent rage. He's not even saying words, just unleashing an agonized guttural wail. He punches an already dead robot torso leaning against a bookshelf. In punctuation, he kicks its decapitated head, which explodes into a shower of bolts and sparks. As the dust clears, you see him dutifully wiping himself down with a towel, breathing hard. He seems to have worked his anger out because he works with a purposeful grace as though he's learned it in cultivation, and sits next to where you're still sort of laying on the floor. You're both silent for a beat. Equius tugs at a lock of his hair, anxiously wrapping around his finger. His hands fall into his laps. I apologize for that display. The disappointed emotion is not my favorite. I feel better now, however. My rally lives very far away, so our paths have never been able to cross. Whatever force is blocking us seems to narrative power, so I respect its whims as above mine in status, for now. You know, it happens. You're no stranger to ups and downs of friendship. The trick is to know when to keep trying and when to fall back, no matter how futile it feels or how alone you are. Your morale is impressive, considering the circumstances. That's probably mostly a compliment? You're not really sure. Your circumstances definitely feel like they could be worse. You are very sure of yourself, but how do you manage this when you're only one of your kind? Without a society to tell you how to act or feel, or how do you know if you're living in the correct way? How do you know where you belong, or if you belong? Ouch. The desire to belong is a yawning wound in your gut, one that never seems to heal. Try not to let this one rip too many stitches out of it. You never feel totally secure, you say? There's always fear, always doubt, always pain. But when you feel people in unlikely places, make community when and where you can. Shit, you have belongings at, like 8 people's houses by now? It's not the same thing as having your own spot, but it's definitely something. You start off the defensive, but you realize it's true. So, really, you figure you're still defining yourself by your relationships to other people, but that can come out from a good place and not just a twisted, forced one. You get wanting to know that what you're doing something right, unlocking your own mentally devised set of achievements for that sweet dopamine rush, but leaning on a fucked up social system for direction and validation doesn't really help, and definitely isn't helping many others. You don't need to figure yourself out. His brown furrows, and you can almost hear a couple of the 4672 rigid barriers in his brain creaking open. It's not just other people, you think. You find strength. Strength. Is that right? Your own self, too. You met a lot of people and learned a lot of ways to be, but you're still working on what that means to you. No, it is not right, but I appreciate the attempt. This type of understanding does not come easy to me, but I believe I am following. In my case, I have stricken to locate my retol the edge of my own ability. Physical prowess is relatively typical indigo trait, but I am abnormally strong. I've worked to hone it in an attempt to make sense of myself and why I am like this, retaining an apparent trait and defining myself by it. He gestures to a goddamn Roman menace and flexes his hands. The blood has concoagulated since the two of you started talking. He stares at it. This way of thinking may not always be a good thing, however. Certain habits are difficult to break. Though there are loopholes in every rule, I often lose track of which regulations I actually enjoy following and which I do not know how to disregard. At least with this hobby, all the stakes are under my control, with no chance of others getting hurt. Unless they haphazardly zap in between your fights, looking for friendship, that is. His smile is broken and rigid as it was the first time, but it feels different, backed by the rough warmth of his laugh. Yes, do not do that again. Next time you will zap to the front door and Arthur will let you in. Next time, you think, and you smile back. Excellent victory! Huzzah! This time, so we're both freaks. You decide to go for it, sometimes leaping into what could potentially be a super sensitive topic for someone the key ingredient in a friendship pie. You can see it now. Equius crying, thankful you are here to talk about whatever this unspeakable commodity you shares. You wiping his tears with his already pretty soaked towel. You shake yourself out of your daydream and drop this sweet loaded question right into his lap. Holy shit, you can't wait till it works. Excuse you? Speak for yourself. My standing is unblemished. Kakarot is only comparing us in the way to further the arouse that he is removed from that particular category. It is a delicate social dance. Oh, okay, you're not really sure Kakarot sees it that way, but hey, whatever works for them. And anyway, you know he's just yelling a lot for something that's not a big deal, as is his manner of showing affection, but you just thought he meant like the horn thing. The horn thing? Oh shit, you're sorry, you don't know if those things aren't like colorable around here, you know? It's almost like entirely arbitrary and at the whims of whoever's in charge or something. You like the look, personally, but you haven't made friends with someone with a broken one before, so you're not sure how common it is. It is relatively uncommon. They are exceptionally sturdy, so it takes something very strong to break them. It looks like he might be able to tell you the story, but somehow you keep not learning the lesson where you should just chill and experience something instead of just leap to try and figure out before it happens. So fueled by enthusiasm for your nervous spur of the moment decision, you stop listening to his lecture on troll biology and focus instead on zapping to the moment his one broke. Troll biology is probably super uninteresting anyway, and you come back right here after and be able to contribute more to the conversation. You pop into familiar nothingness, but instead of appearing of a point in Equius' past, you feel yourself split. It's like looking at the magic eye puzzle, but with your whole body. You try to concentrate to align the segments of the whole, but it's too late. You think for a second it might be cool, a new cool power, but it doesn't feel like it might. Feels like it, but it doesn't feel like that different from before, only just triple. It's like there are a narrative precedent for the moment existing in more than one plane of truth. Unable to do anything but sit there in space contemplating this paradox, you watch. You look at a little younger, but not much. Yeah, he looks a little younger, but not much. He's beating the shit out of a robot, but it's not the same as when you saw it before. However, briefly, then his movements had been smooth, even enraged, like he wasn't afraid until you showed up. Here in this weird half-present space, his movements are erratic. He swings wildly, unthinkingly, like there is nothing left inside him but one last flicker of fury. His teeth are gritted against tears, and he looks so tired. You want to pull him back to make him rest. You see him reach into the same conclusion, but not how you meant it. He just stops. The robot does not. You feel him close his eyes. At the same moment, you see another snapshot of time much further back. There's a little grub wobbling its way up to a stalactite in the cave. It's definitely a precarious place, but it still somehow feels safe to you. For some reason, safe, but also, super violent. Who knows, there's a lot of that going on right now. He crawls to the top and roars a baby clicking roar, his eye eyeing a taller cave precipice. You see his little behind wiggle as he moves to jump. Over that, there's another Equius, looking at about the same as he does now. Just plus one horn, out for a stroll in the moonlight. This one is about to cross the street when a majestic horn of hoofbeats crests a faraway hill. He stops, transfixed, as the animals gallop across the plain. He does not hear the approaching scuttlebuggy. You watch all of this from your floating void standpoint, unable to stop it. The arcs of their falls align to a cosmic synchrony, hair fanned out like a banner of defeat. The echo of the crack of a horn makes as a shadow reverberates in your teeth. You yell as all three Equiuses hit their respective grounds. Can't help it. You start to care about this guy a little bit. As the sound leaves you, all three of them turn their injured heads to look at you in unison, and you freeze. Shit, that's probably not supposed to happen, right? You're just watching, not changing anything. You barely know what you're doing, though, so you can never be sure. You zap immediately present, winded and dizzy. You feel deeply, suddenly corporeal, like you do when you step onto the shore, but with each atom of your body separately and all at once. Equius is standing exactly where he was when you left. Still yammering about the anatomy. Phew, good to know nothing got fucked up with the future after you. He pauses, shaking his head to clear his memories, realizing. I don't know how. I don't remember. I accepted your offer of friendship and you repaid me with this tomfoolery. You knew how it happened all this time, and yet you played ignorant. Jockeying for a position as someone in my trust only to play me as a fool. No, you see, you didn't before. It wasn't until after you went back that this became the way things went. See, that the way time travel works is... Do not explain time travel to me! What do you take me for? You're still reveling a bit from seeing him so vulnerable, by varying definitions of vulnerable, you guess, but still. You know how you got this information from an unfair source, but now that you have it, you don't feel right just leaving. There's more of Equius than you had originally thought, and you can feel the chance to learn more about him slipping away. I do not know what it is you want from me, but you will not receive it. Whatever connection you feel to him at this moment, he clearly does not return it. And, shit, he's starting to get pissed. Sweat begins to beat at his temple. Your brain, scrambling to grasp a hold of any thought that isn't your abject friendship failure, latches onto the realization that, sweat and all, his hair somehow still looks really good. But now will be a good time to talk about what products he... I don't think his alliance is going to work out. You will leave. I must get back to my business. Your heart sinks as he turns his back to you, presses a button on the back of his robot's neck, and rolls it to his shoulders. Goodbye. Shunned. With that, I hope you guys have a good day, week, month of your lives, and may the stars forever guide your path, wherever they might lead you. Bye-bye, everybody.